guys, welcome to the Old Gold TV, and today we've got a Wolves versus Crystal Palace match preview for you. It's 8:15 kick-off at Molineux, and it can be viewed on BT Sports. Make sure to watch it and cheer Wolves on. Hopefully it's a better result than last week's bitterly disappointing decision to end our Champions League hopes and put our Europa League hopes in jeopardy. VAR giving Burnley a penalty. Much undeserved penalty, in my opinion. Wasn't a penalty. And Chris Wood stuck it away to equalise, taking away 2 points from Wolves and cancelling out Raul Jimenez's spectacular 73rd minute volley from the edge of the box. But other than that, there's not really much else to talk about. If you want more detail on that game, you can go over to my video, the Burnley versus Wolves review. So it's a more in-depth overview, and you can get some core stats on things like that over there. Anyway, let's move on to the Wolves versus Crystal Palace lineup predictions. In terms of my predicted lineup for Wolves, I've gone with the typical back four, with Rui Patricio in goal and Sace, Cody and Bolly across the back. At left wing back, I've gone with Johnny Otto, who I think is going to replace Ruben Vinagre for this game. I think that Vinagre didn't play very well against Burnley. Looked a bit lacklustre going forward and wasn't fantastic defensively. At right wing back, despite his handball late in the game to Burnley, I've gone with Matt Doherty. I think he gives us an extra dimension defensively and is very good going forward also. So I've gone with him. I think we're going to need that against Crystal Palace to have a slightly better attack than Burnley, in my opinion. So I think we're going to need his defensive prowess. In midfield, I've gone with the formula that worked well last week, which was Neves and Moutinho, creating that creative spark and giving us an extra dimension going forward in terms of passing range and dribbling. At left wing, I've gone with Daniel Podence, who started on the right wing last game, but I think he'll go to the left, as I think Jota will be dropped after a quite poor performance against Burnley again. Another dip in form despite this good Everton performance. And at right wing, I've gone with Pedro Neto, who's going to come in to replace Podence. However, Podence is replacing Jota, so really Neto's replacing Jota, but he's going to be playing on the right wing instead. I think he'll give us a good burst of pace, and he's always direct, Neto. I think he played fantastically against Everton before he was subbed off due to an injury. So that's what I'm going to say in terms of right wing. And up front, I'm going to go with Raul Jimenez, who was just fantastic against Burnley. Main man, scored an incredible volley. And yeah, as I say, the only reason he'd be left out of the team is if his baby is born. But that doesn't look like it's happening for a few weeks yet. So that's how I predict Wolves are going to line up. Let's move on to the one to watches. I've gone with a Portuguese midfielder, and his name is Ruben Neves. He's had some incredible recent performances, particularly against Everton. His pass to Diogo Jota to set up the third goal was particularly special, over the top of the defenders' heads, and fantastic finish from Jota. Against Burnley, he's probably one of the standout players amongst João Moutinho and Raul Jimenez and a few others. Played his part with some lovely passes and some nice movement in that game, and we were unlucky, very, very unlucky to draw. I also like to mention his fantastic consistency over the season. He just always works a fantastic shift for the team, works his socks off and never gives up. He's always got something special up his sleeve, whether it be a fantastic pass, a worldie, or just incredible defensive play and decision making. He's just an incredible player for the team. In my opinion, he's due a screamer soon, and I think Monday night might be his chance. He hasn't scored one in a while, and I think he's got something up his sleeve, and that might change the game for us and gives a bit of positivity. I'd also like to mention how good defensively he is. He also puts a shift in attack and he's a very good box-to-box midfielder. Yeah, that's all to say about Ruben Neves. I think he'll be the one to watch on Monday night. Let's move on to Crystal Palace's one to watch. As for Crystal Palace's one to watch, I've gone with the Ivorian striker Wilfried Zaha. His main traits, he's just absolutely rapid, really, isn't he? He's very strong as well and often a nightmare for defenders. Scored a lot of goals this season, including an absolute worldie against Chelsea, lashing it into the top corner to provide a good finish to the game. And that was very recently, so hopefully he doesn't continue that form. But from Crystal Palace point of view, hopefully he does. But from a Wolves point of view, obviously, we hope he has an off game. He's been unsurprisingly linked with a move away, and I think he's worth at least £40 million. He just adds so much to a team, especially one lacking a striker. Like a team like Everton, in my opinion, who was linked with last summer and seemed on the verge of a move, but it never happened, did it? Yeah, I think Everton would be a good place for him. He'd probably get a lot of opportunities, and he could provide that striker and those goals that Everton have needed for a long time. He'd probably, in my opinion, actually get into most top 6 teams. Everton are not a top 6 team yet. They're probably mid-table at best, to be honest. But I think he'd get into a lot of top 6 teams. Probably, maybe not the top ones like Liverpool and City, but I think he could definitely break in in the likes of Manchester United, who obviously he used to play for, Leicester, Chelsea, Wolves, and perhaps Sheffield United and Tottenham if they move into that category. Arsenal, not to mention Arsenal as well, who can break into the top 6 if they continue this fantastic run of form that they're on. But anyway, let's move on to the last game between these two sides. Last time out for Wolves versus Crystal Palace, it played out a 1-1 draw in a very average run of form for Wolves in September, when Wolves were mid-Europa League qualifying games in this time, and I believe we were playing Torino in the near future. So our eyes might have been on that game a little bit, trying to get into Europa League. And Crystal Palace had the better of the first half, and their pressure told. Just after half-time, the Leander Dendoncker own goal on 46 minutes. And only rubbed salt into the wounds, really, when Romain Saiss got sent off after a second yellow card in the 73rd minute. Just it seemed all hope had been lost, though. In classic late Wolves fashion, Jota broke his Prem scoring drought and scored his first Premier League goal of the season and to scrape us a draw at Selhurst Park. In the 90 plus 5th minute, and it was a great goal really from a free kick. Jota sneaking in to score. No one expected him being a smaller player, but he managed to do it from the free kick. It was a very equal game really, and looking back on it, some of the stats were 50-50 possession, so bang on equal. 13 shots each, 4 on target each, 6 Palace corners, 7 Wolves corners. So virtually equal. We both were not on our A game, and hopefully this next game could be a bit more interesting. Maybe some more goals. Hopefully in Wolves' favour though. Let's move on to my score prediction for this game. As for my score prediction for Wolves versus Crystal Palace, I believe it's going to be a tough game. It's a must-win really in terms of Europa League hopes. If we want to break in without going into the qualifiers, which we don't want to go through again. It just added 6 unnecessarily draining games to our season. I mean, that looks to have really taken its toll near the end and in the middle in some parts where we looked a bit tired. Champions League and top 4 is now impossible. It's now an impossible dream. If we'd have picked the points against Sheffield United, beat Burnley, got a point against Arsenal, it might have been different. But that boat sailed now, and Europa League is our focus. In my opinion, we need to finish these last 2 games of the season on a high. Ideally, 2 wins against Chelsea and Palace. I know we can't have everything. but that would be a fantastic finish to the season, setting up going into the Europa League mini tournament, where if we beat Olympiacos, we'll come up against either Sevilla or Roma. Then in the semi-finals, if we get through, it's most likely to be Manchester United being the best of the teams out of their four. And then in the final, looking at the other side of the draw, is likely to be Inter Milan. So if we get to the final, it's going to be crazy. If we even get to Sevilla and Roma, I think we've already done incredibly. I mean, if we get to the quarterfinals past Olympiacos, we've already done incredibly. But I think even if we don't win it, we'll have had an incredible campaign. And I think we've done well. But in terms of my actual score, I'm going to go with 1-0 Wolves. I think we'll just edge it. I think it'll be quite an equal game again, but Wolves will have the most of it. And I think a Ruben Neves screamer is going to decide this one. I talked about it in the One to Watch section, and yeah, that's what I think is going to edge this game. Anyway, that's it for this preview. Make sure to tune in for the review, which will probably be coming out on Tuesday. The link to my socials will be down here somewhere, and I will see you next time.